Okay, hello everybody. Um, I don't know, I've been working really hard lately. I thought I'd just make a video of what I'm doing, just in case you were curious. Is that guy really doing anything, or is he just a slacker? No, I'm actually working very hard, and that's why I don't really have much time to make videos anymore. That'll probably change in the future after I get my current project done. But anyway, I don't know. I just thought maybe somebody might want to see, like say an hour in the life of an iPhone game programmer right now is what I'm doing. So, um, yeah, I'm making a game right now. It's codenamed Maze Quest. It's actually an RPG. Hey, for the iPhone, and it's I'm going at breakneck speed, but even at breakneck speed, for making a game, it's still really slow. Unfortunately, it's about 3 months into it right now, and I don't have a Macintosh right now with me. I'm actually running my Macintosh or my Apple. I'm sorry, Macintosh. No, it's Apple. I'm running my Apple Yosemite. I think it's Yosemite or whatever it is right now. I'm running that through an emulator called VMware Player. So I'm actually not programming this on an Apple computer. I'm using emulation software to run the Apple computer, and then here because I can't actually. Well, I could, but it's very difficult to say record the screen on my iPhone. I have an iPhone 5 with me, but to record that screen at the same time I'm playing this video, that would be probably too much for the computer, I'm guessing. The recording software takes up resources, and then like I've had very not so good experience trying to actually use that software that records the screen of your phone in this emulator, which is how you have to do it. And so instead, I'm just going to run the iPhone 5 emulator available with Xcode, which is going to be slow. So the frame rate right now we're getting 28 frames, but that'll change. It'll drop to like 10 or maybe lower than that. We'll see. But anyway, okay. So here it is. I got the wrong. Okay, I don't actually have this guy in my party, so this is a problem. I'm gonna have to address that eventually. But anyway, this is what happens when you click on. This is my only character in my party out of 5 slots here. And I'm starting a battle sequence here. This is the guy I'm battling. Also not correct as far as his sprite on the overworld there. Wait a minute. Oh, okay. I forgot I did that. Yeah, I'm getting 10 frames per second, but that's because I'm running an emulator in an emulator. I'm emulating Apple's iOS, and then I'm also emulating through that. I'm emulating the iPhone 5. So there you go. View. There we are. All right. So right now where I am is I've got I've got 2 spell effects. One's a very cool lightning effect, at least I think it is. I made this myself. Well, you can't see much of it actually because the frame rate's so poor. Let's see here if I can put the speed down a little bit. You see if you can see that a little bit better now. This slows the speed down by about twice. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I made that effect myself. It's actually real-time rendered. Basically it starts at the point where you want it to end, and then it increases, and it basically goes up from that up top by a certain amount, and then starts let me see here, picks a random location, and then draws a line there, picks another random location, draws a line there, and it does that. Then so it's got and it overlays some graphics right on top of each other, and then once it does that, it copies because you have at that point you have in Cocos 2D, which is what I'm using, you have a bunch of lines, right, that you need to keep track of. I just merge those all, flatten them into one layer, overlay that layer, and give it a blend mode, and then I take the actual the actual graphic, and I do a let's call it an action, and that action kind of shrinks it a little bit, so it looks like it's kind of moving, but it's not really moving. It's just shrinking by a small amount, so that gives it a little movement. And like I said, we're getting 11 frames here, so it doesn't look that good, but believe me, it looks pretty darn good at 60 frames. In fact, I'm pretty proud of that. Unfortunately, it took me a day, which is kind of unacceptable. In terms of since I'm the only one working on this, both graphics and programming. So for me to actually spend a day on something like that is kind of unacceptable. But anyway, here's the fireball. This is the only other, well, the second animation I have. Yeah, and again, that uses particle effects. Looks a lot better in in full frame rate there. And everything else has a temporary heal effect, which, yeah, it's a bunch of basically a star pattern. Again, looks a lot better in full frame rate mode. And that's wrong. That flashing. Oh, and that's an arrow, even though this guy doesn't really have arrows equipped. That's the what I gave it there. And you just click on the guy, and it gives you an animation based on whatever their weapon is. In this case, that's the spear animation. I think it is. Yeah. And again, this is slowed down. There's also, I can also turn it to fast, but you probably wouldn't see anything at that point. So yeah, and then you move around. I got a lot to do here. I mean, a lot's done, but I still got a lot to do. I still got to do the AI. The AI just randomly picks a move right now. Oh, there we go. Fireball randomly picks a move and randomly picks a target. Obviously, didn't even hit that guy. Right now, I think it's, yeah, because we have the spells in there as moves, possible moves. It just randomly picks a move, and because there's so many more spells than there is, you know, anything else to do, it probably is going to cast a spell. Yeah. So anyway, quit. Yes. God, it was a slog to get everything working. All right, so, but we're there. We're you know, we're getting there. Anyway, so what I've got to do now. Oh yeah. I think I've got to do several things actually. I've got to go and give the spell effects their proper color actually. They okay, they're all red. That's the problem. Yeah. When you cast a spell and it affects somebody, I like it to like flash that person a certain color so it looks like you know, visually you've done something to that unit. And in this case, they're all using flash to red, which is for damage and the fireball spell, and I don't want that to happen actually. Not for the other spells, like particularly heal needs to flash to maybe, let's say, color 3B. And I don't know, wow, I don't know what happened there, but my phone just made a ringing sound for some reason. So color 3B stands for color 3 bytes, I guess. Tint, and I'm going to say for heal, actually, yeah, for heal, let's say 0, it's 0 to 255, red, green, and blue. So 0, let's see, I guess it would be more greenish, 255, and 180 maybe? It's more kind of greenish blue, light color kind of. Maybe I'll throw 50 red in there, maybe to lighten it up a little bit. And same thing for the mass heal, I guess. And this is another thing making this slow. The fact that I'm using this on an emulator, an emulated version of, whoops, color 3B. What did I do wrong there? Oh, equal. That's not right. I'm using emulated, Apple, and then, you know, the Xcode is I think not really a good compiler, and it's kind of slow and a little bit buggy, to be honest. So it's just dealing with that part slows everything down. um, yeah, so you gotta wait. I mean, and then when I'm using my iPhone 5, when I'm running a build on my iPhone 5, I have to wait for the iPhone 5 apparently to go across the internet and sync up with Apple for some reason. I can't just download a program or upload a program onto my iPhone and then just run it. It's got to go check with Apple to make sure it's okay. And sometimes my connection is not good, and so that actually doesn't work too well sometimes. Still recording, yep. And so sometimes I just run it on the iPhone 5 emulator for Xcode just because my internet connection is so bad. I can't actually run a build on my iPhone because it can't get far enough to connect to Apple. It's really, oh man, what a mess. The rest of these I don't really care too much. Actually, I'll do this later when I figure out exactly how I want these things to operate. These are other spells. This is lightning right here, and it's got the tint. When it damages a unit, the unit flashes or tints to this color, which is 10, 50, and 255. And the code for that is it's in here. Unit graphics class. The next thing I need to do, let's see here, I was trying to get it synced right, so where you actually flashed and got shaken up and, at the same time the spell effect is still running, and that was not working for some reason. I got to figure out why. This is all code I wrote, and but it doesn't work. It's very perplexing. It's like you wrote the code and it doesn't do what you wanted to do, and you're like, why the hell is that? Oh, wait a minute. No. Okay, this right here is the spell field animation, what I'm calling the spell field animation. That's the actual spell graphic or animation. After that this is the take hit. You take the hit, your unit shakes around or does whatever he does, and then there's the damage pop-up that pops up either damage or healing, some number depending on what happened. So right in here, after the spell field animation key, it's supposed to delay just a small amount before it actually starts animating the unit, depending on what happened. This is temporary. The spell power is just, I'm going to figure that out later. So get hit by spell. Let me go look at that again. We got two. We got take spell hit and get affected by spell. One of them is when you take damage. The other one was just when you get affected, like maybe a heal spell. This one right here, so we've got what? Delay. Where am I getting the delay from? Because it delays a while before it actually happens. Where am I getting that from? Let me see. Let's see here. Get hit by spell. Key dot delay. Oh, key dot delay. Okay, well, it's easy to confuse yourself sometimes in programming, especially if you're a sloppy coder, which I've been getting a lot better lately, just because I got tired of trying to figure out what the hell code I wrote did, and so, yeah, key dot delay. That's not supposed to actually happen, is it? We're not actually supposed to do that, are we? Okay, yeah. See, again, it looks like I may have just confused myself, and that was the whole problem. Key dot position. Mm-hmm. Key dot delay. No, that's not right. That's not right. Let's set that to 0. Let's see if that works. Yep. wrote code that confused me, and I made a mistake, and that's what happened. It's just... Oh. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm not that stupid, really. And at the same time, see, I have to wait this time for to actually get this thing up and running. So in the meantime, I usually switch to YouTube and watch, like, either listen to music or watch a Let's Play of like an old game like this. This is War Song. Um, this guy is I don't know. He's not very good at this game, but I didn't really. It's hard to find Let's Plays of this game. I used to play this game a lot, Warsong. In fact, I also played the sequel. I got a hold of the it's Langrisser 2. I got a hold of the ROM anyway, back untranslated, and played it untranslated, even though I had no idea what the Japanese characters meant. I just figured it out through trial and error what the menus did. But now you can actually get a translated version of Langrisser. There's a patch out to translate it, and I loved that. I played that. I think the Langrisser 2 was probably the best game of the Langrisser series. I didn't play any like for the PlayStation or anything, but I played. Remember, I played Warsong on the original Genesis. I had a Genesis, and I loved that game. But Langrisser 2 or Warsong 2, I guess, was I think a much better game though, and. I was thinking about doing a Let's Play of Langrisser 2 or maybe just Warsong 1, but I'm not quite sure what the reception would be for my audience. I don't know if you guys would really be interested in that. It's the sort of thing I'd probably have to put up a vote, and I probably need to do that, but I'm just kind of barely keeping ahead of things with like making new videos and stuff because I just don't have any time. Oh, there we go. So we already got it. Let's go ahead and run it. See if we got it. Maybe. See if I'm just as smart as I think I am. Yeah, that looks like that did it. It would be nice to have a higher frame rate, though, wouldn't it? Actually, let me go ahead and turn the battle speed down so I can kind of see what's going on a little bit better. Let's see, if this guy starts shaking when the lightning's actually hitting him, then we will have done it. Well, he actually... Oh my god. Now we have another problem. And this is how programming is. Now we have two problems. We solved one problem, but now we have another problem for some reason. He should be shaking, and he's not. Why is that? It's actually possible. Just the low frame rate is the okay. He's moving back. I think he's actually. I think what's happening is just the frame rate's so low. It's not really completing all those commands. It'll probably work fine when I get it on the iPhone 5. But I think we solved it. So there you go. One problem down, a million to go, and that's kind of how it is. Anyway. All right, so that works. Okay, so what's next? I think I finished that part. So now what? Actually, not quite sure where to go here. What do we need to work on next? Probably, you know what? I think what would be fun is to show a particle effect. Let's go try and create a particle effect for one of these spells here. That's always fun. When I don't have anything to do, or, well, I never reach that point, but when I want to relax a little bit, making particle effects is pretty fun. So let me see here. Abilities class, what is the list of spells? Nope, it's in skill type. Okay. Huge number of defines right here. So we've got the way this game works is, or the way it's planned now, things could change. Things change a lot in when you're planning a game, but the way it works now is everything is basically a skill, including the spells, and you put points in everything to make that stronger. So even your spells, you can dump a bunch of points into your spells and make those stronger. So yeah, I don't know where I was going with that, but that's just a fact. We're whatever the hell I was saying. Trying to think of two things. I'm trying to think of A, what I should be saying, and B, what I should be doing. That's kind of hard. All right, so here's the skills, and you got this is of course temporary, and you've got health, energy. Putting health points into your health skill increases your health, obviously. Okay, so. And then you put points into energy. That increases basically your magic points, effectively. And putting points into attack, that increases your damage with weapons. Increasing your defense, that reduces damage you take from attacks from weapons. Increasing your speed, that basically makes you have more turns. And there's two blank here. I don't know why there's two missing here. There's a couple of skills here that I might have added and didn't actually when I created the character here in the code. I didn't actually add those, so you essentially don't have those for some reason. Magic is your effectiveness with magic, and here are the spells. Haste, slow, etc. And they're in different colors depending on how many points you get per skill point. Like in slow, because it's redded out essentially, I get 3 for 1. So every 3 skill points I put in this spell, I get 1 level, right? See there? And that's character dependent. It depends on what basically class of character you're using. That will determine how many points you get per skill point spent in a given skill. And so the greenish, I guess, green turquoise, you get a 1 for 1. My monitor's screwed up. I'm sorry. People have told me this before, that the color in my monitor is off because of the way I see things, and it's actually true. I'm using a very old monitor. My other one actually just died on me, and so I'm using an old monitor, and the colors are messed up. But this looks like orangish. Anyway, orangish. It's actually should, I think, be kind of dull yellow, but anyway, orangish, you get a 2 for 1, so, or a 1 for 2. 2 skill points spent gives you 1 level, and on level up, all of them get levels based on how many skill points you get, or how many levels you get per skill point. So in other words, on a level up, haste will get 3 levels, because you essentially get 1 for 1, and slow will get just 1 level because you get 1 for 3, and this will get 2 levels because you get 1 for 2. So as long as you have the skill, you have to get skills, you have to buy them or learn them from somewhere, then they level up automatically with your level based on how what your cost is. Anyway, that was probably really confusing, but you can actually, what is the reset buttons is like if you put skill points in here, then you reset, it goes back to 10. The equipment, oh my god, you don't know what a pain in the ass it was to make this stuff. Nope, I'm not supposed to be able to No, okay. Alright, yeah. You can dual weld. There's actually, I believe, a penalty to that, or should be. I can't equip that, so it doesn't let me. Things in yellow, highlighted in yellow, means you can equip it. And we should be able to equip our stuff over here. Yes, sir. Okay. And this is actually wrong. This needs to be redone. It gives me a damage and armor calculation, but that probably needs to be redone. And I believe in every screen I can rename my character. Yes, every screen. Yeah, just about. Okay, and magic. This might crash the game. No, but it did put something in the wrong spot. So, yeah, magic, this is where you can actually cast a spell on the map, but these ones you can't because these are not usable outside of battle. Mass heal, let me see what that... Yeah, okay, that put that spell effect right in the left-hand corner. That needs to be fixed. Anyway, the map is really simple right now. Yeah, really simple. I can't get past this guy because every time I move in a square opposite to him, he is... it starts a battle sequence that's coded right now. So we're going to... Let's see, I guess we're going to make a particle effect, right? That's what I was saying. All right, I was just figuring out what to do, which one to do. Dispel, Charm, Drain. Well, we could make Bolt, I guess. No, that's probably a two-part. Ice. Ice is not really, probably not going to be a particle effect. Lightning wasn't a particle effect. Meteor. Meteor is going to be a pain in the ass. Took me a day, nearly a full day, to make the fireball, or no, make the lightning one. That was like, oh my god. My brother was like, you know what? That's too much. He's okay, well, let's just see here. I have healed basically. Curse. You know what? I'm thinking at this frame rate, you probably won't be able to see really the effect anyway. Maybe I better not do that. Maybe we better get back to doing whatever I was supposed to do here. Which I got to figure out what's next. So we got this. So let me see here. I need to. Okay, we got the damage popping up. That's correct. Probably need to make the summon and revive spells do something. Or I could make the spell effects like the curse. In fact, let's do that. Okay, so let's see, where would we do that? Unit class, member class. Member class or unit class. I have two classes. One's the member, like a party member class, and that holds the unit class, which is the reason I have that. Well, I don't know. You know, I'm not sure, but I'm sure there was a good reason. No, there's a reason. It's hard to explain. A lot of this stuff is very hard to explain, but through trial and error, you learn to do things a certain way just to make your life easier. And I kind of forgot why I did that for now, but I know there was probably a reason for it. I have, like, you know, we have, I don't know how many lines of code. God, I'd estimate, you know, maybe 100,000, possibly, something like that. Just give me a really quick idea. We have 1,000 there. No, maybe less than that. We're maybe talking about maybe 50,000 lines of code, let's say. And the idea of, you know, making all these different classes and all these different, you know, files is that you can do a part and then kind of forget about it and how it works. You don't have to keep everything in your head at one time, and that makes your life so much easier. And so, like, when I'm returning to some of this stuff and I'm thinking, why did I do it that way? Sometimes I don't really know, but I just have confidence that, when I did it, I was pretty sure it was the right way to do it, and so I don't have to worry about it. It just works, right? That's the idea. But anyway, I'm thinking, like, if I was to I need some flags on a unit in battle, like if they're cursed or if they're slowed or if they're hasted. I need some flags on there saying they're cursed, slowed, or hasted, and for what kind, how much, and how long is the kind of thing. So I'm thinking we would probably put that in member class. I don't want to put it in unit class. Unit class is kind of the unit's individual stats, and I kind of want to keep that. Prefer to kind of keep that clear. Let me actually see how I set up the battle unit. The battle unit has the member class. Maybe battle unit class would be a better place to put it. Battle unit class is, because I have two places where I keep track of member class. One is in the map screen and one is the battle screen. And so in the case of the battle screen, I actually have another class that contains a pointer to the unit, or the member class. And since these effects go away after the battle, perhaps it would be better to put them in the battle unit class. In fact, I'm almost thinking, so initiative has turn, alignment enemy, or well, default alignment is set to enemy when it starts up. This is probably the place to put it, I would say. And this is not cluttered yet. We still have... I don't know. Somebody told me, I was listening to a thing on programming, which I do only very rarely, but I was listening to a YouTube lecture on programming, or maybe it wasn't a lecture by YouTube, but anyway, it was on YouTube, and this guy mentioned, he's like, I've seen classes that go on for thousands of lines, and I'm like thinking to myself, my God, my classes sometimes go on for like 10,000, 20,000 lines, and I'm thinking, is that abnormal? Well, it probably is. I didn't, my programming experience started like when I was, I think, 15, and my dad had a computer, and I was like, how do you make games? I was obsessed with games back then, and I guess I still am. But I was like, how do you do that? I want to do that. And somebody told me, oh, you got to learn programming. I'm like, oh, really? So my dad bought me a Learn C in 21 days, I think it was the title of the book. Boy, that was... I read that thing, and like he got a compiler, a DOS compiler back then, and that was back in the days of like DOS. This was before Windows 90. Was it 95 that started it all? Yeah, I think it was 95. People had Windows, but they had to fire it up from DOS, and then to run certain programs. And boy, that Windows 3.1 was a slow, stupid piece of crap, really. But anyway, back in these days, it was DOS, and if you didn't have was it a Borland or extended compiler or something like that, you only had 64K to work with, was it? As far as your program goes, and that included like graphics files. So I was programming using just 64K and writing my own graphics routines. And this was before the internet, and basically not. I think the internet might have been around, but it was bulletin boards at that time or something like that. But anyway, there was really not much information. I mean, I'm spoiled now because I have any question at all about how to do this, how to do that, I just go and Google and type how do you do this, how to do that, and you can find it instantly. But back then, oh man, it was not easy figuring things out. I mean, sure, you could read a book, but what happens when you had a small question, about how to do such and such, or or the book wasn't exactly, completely clear on what exactly was going on, and it was really a lot of trial and error. And I remember you had to set the graphics mode using, what was it? An interrupt, was it 13H? Something like that. Oh, man, what the hell that was. So anyway, but that's what I learned programming on, and then I also took a couple of college courses at the local community college um, on C programming. This was kind of before C++. C++ was just coming out in this time, so it wasn't. I actually learned C instead of C++, and also I took a course on assembler. Yeah, I remember that. Assembler was something else. That was. I'm glad I don't have to use that now. But I didn't really learn assembler real well, but it was like I do remember a little bit about it. And, from what I understand, like the console games, like probably this game, like on the Genesis, they used assembler, and oh my God, to program. No wonder the games were simpler. This program a game in assembler must have been really crazy. I suppose it's doable if you can, if you're used to it. But I just remember the the push move and all that kind of crap from assembler. That looked really like it wouldn't be fun to program anything in assembler. Easy to get lost. Let's put it that way. I guess you have functions in assembler too, but it just didn't look fun at all. I like C. Nowadays, I think when people learn programming, from what I understand, they kind of don't like C++ now. It's become. I think people are moving on to like higher level languages, Java and Ruby and whatever. But I like C++. I really do. Well, maybe it's just because it's what I've always used. But anyway, what was I saying? Okay, yeah, getting confused by your own code. That's a real problem. It's actually probably the #1 problem in programming. So what I'm going to do is probably would make a struct, which I have a habit of doing. Let's call it. I usually get hung up on names because I want them to be unique and self-explanatory. This is correct, right? Yeah, type diff struct. Yeah. Let's call it. So it's unit status effects. No, battle unit. B unit stat this effects struct. Then I always call it struct. I always do standard effect. I always put the struct after it, just for even more explanation. Now it's a little long, and I don't know if I want it. Stat effects. Let's see if we can shorten it a little bit. There we go. I don't like things to be too long. So, all right. So I guess we make it all integers, right? So let me see here. This is another concern here because I think I made the the skill levels. Okay, there's levels. Uint 16t. That's 65535. Yeah, I can. Okay, let's go uint t. So this will be the power of the spell effect there. Level. No, let's call it level. That's the effect level. And what's wrong with that? What the heck's wrong with that? I love autocomplete. This was also before autocomplete. Uint. Oh, okay, it was lowercase. Yeah. autocomplete has really made my life so much easier. Back when I was 15 and learning programming, there was no autocomplete in the compiler, as far as I know. Anyway, it certainly wasn't in mine, or maybe I just didn't have it enabled. I don't think there was, but that is really so nice, because you do forget how to type things. There's so much to learn in programming. Game programming in particular. I suppose normal programming. There's a big difference between normal programming and game programming. Game programmers get paid a lot less, work a lot longer, and just for the opportunity to work in games, it's more like something you want to do because you like it, not because it's necessarily a good career path. But as a game programmer, and also keep in mind I'm doing art, also working as an artist at the same time on the same job. So I mean, I'm learning how to use compilers, programming languages, libraries, and then on top of that, of course, add graphics programs to do the graphics, etc. Even putting in sound and stuff like that. Having to learn how to use sound editing software. So I mean, the amount of learning, constant learning, it never ends. It's horrible. The amount of learning I'm having to do is just unbelievable, just constantly. So it's easy to forget things. It's easy to forget. Okay, how do you uint 16T is the U capitalized? I don't remember. So apparently it wasn't. Anyway. Level. Let's go ahead and I like to zero things out first. So now the skill. Now, I usually don't program this slow, but I'm trying to explain things at the same time, and it's kind of like crossing my train of thought. I'm fairly intelligent. It's just like I have to concentrate on one thing at a time, and then I do pretty well. But doing two things at once, that is not really my strong point. Okay, let's see now. Which spell effect? No, let's just call it skill. Let's call it skill or spell. Skill. Yeah, this is where I get hung up too. Let's just call it spell. No, let's call it skill. Skill. Zero that out. So this is which skill or spell has been cast on him. Skills and spells, again, they're interchangeable in this case, in this game. And duration, int duration, how long it's going to last. I guess that's all I need, right? The level, the duration, the skill. Wait, skills affected is probably what we want to. Let's call it spell, so I don't confuse myself again. Int stats, skills affected. Max skills. Okay, autocomplete is not working. This is Xcode is a piece of crap, and sometimes it doesn't really work right. It should be autocompleting, or maybe I'm not using the right thing. Max skills. Max skills. It's not here. Where did I put that defined? Probably all the way in globals. I have myself so confused with this crap. Put it in globals. Why? I don't know. Max skills. No, not there. Okay, well, maybe it's in skills then. That would probably make sense, right? Skill class, max skills. Yeah, there it is. Oh, okay. So autoeffect just not working. That's great. Skills affected. So when you have a spell effect on somebody, you cast a spell like curse, it's going to affect certain skills, right? Like maybe it'll lower your attack or defense or defense, maybe everything. So these are the skills affected, And now I also have to think of, you know what, if I do this, if I do this here, I can't do this here. Or if I do this here, I'm going to have to do it somewhere else, or I'm going to have to change something else, because I have a calculator to figure out what the unit stats are at a certain time based on their equipment, and also in the future effects. And if I put this here, then I'm going to have to move that somewhere. And I don't want to move that because I want to use it in both the map and battle modes. So I'm going to have to put that. I guess we will have to put this here. Yeah, see, I don't know what I'm doing. It's play by ear. It's so much play by ear. There's no, there's no manual. Well, there's manuals on how to make games like this, but it's like, if you want to do something unique, they don't apply, and so you're just out there figuring stuff out by yourself. All right, so we're gonna have to put B status effect struct, and we're gonna have to, well, max status effects. I'm gonna have to have like a max status effect. I don't really want to add this here for a lot of reasons. Where is my sync skills? Oh, sync stats is right here. Okay, so it's on the unit class. I really want to put this. I really want to put this somewhere else. I really want to put this back in battle unit class. And I guess we're going to have to find every instance of sync stats, and we're going to have to change that. We're going to have to wrap that function in another function. Let's see here. Oh my God. Combat Energy class. Equip scene. Yep. Okay. So we're going to have to change how we do that. Oh, how lovely. We're going to have to change how we do that. And fortunately, that probably means I'm going to have to actually think. To do that, I'm going to actually probably have to stop talking. Well, anyway, it's been fun. Unfortunately, I can't really host a video and think really in depth at the same time. It's just not really my my skill. Anyway, I don't know. I just wanted you guys to see, I just wanted you guys to feel my pain, I guess. I will be trying to get a new, Let's Play video out. I want to do Civ 4. I have a game that somebody sent me that I need to do on video called Endless Legend, and I've been practicing on it. I'm trying to get good enough to where I can actually do a Let's Play that I think is competent. So that is coming. Yes, I'm working on that. Not quite there yet on that, but I think next video is probably going to be Civ 4. I think I want to do another Civ 4 video. Anyway, so I hope you guys enjoyed this little peek into my work time here. And if you're shocked and horrified, well, what can I say? It's pretty horrific. If you are going to become a programmer, I don't actually recommend a game programmer because they get less pay and longer hours and probably less respect in general than normal programmers. Just be forewarned. Anyway, all right. So I guess I'll talk to you guys later. Hope you enjoyed it.